Hey everybody, how's it going? This is OurHouse21, and this is a quick informational video. Well, I'll say quick, don't know how it's actually going to be, but this is a quick informational video about a little project I took on and completely screwed up. And so I'm going to show you what I did wrong, and how hopefully how I resolved the problem so that you guys can not make the same mistakes I did. So if you look right here, this is my Turnigy 3XS radio that was given to me by Lamont from Bashers United. So I actually broke the antenna connection. It fell and the antenna mount was not the highest quality thing, so it just broke off. So I figured that, you know, as part of the upgrade process, I'll just go ahead and replace the antenna wire with a standard connector so I can use different antenna connections, so like higher gain antennas to get more range. So you see right here, this is a 2 dB radio or 2 dB antenna extension. I also have a big 6 dB antenna to give me more range, so it makes it help work better for speed runs. But I was wiring this guy up late at night and I completely forgot everything that I learned in physics class, and as a result butchered my radio. So I was thinking I had this antenna wire right here, and I didn't feel like doing a precision soldering job and doing it the proper way, so I would just splice this wire together and then insulate it and go on with my day. The thing that I completely forgot about is that RF, and RF stands for radio frequencies, don't like to hit any changes in a wire that they're traveling through. That's called an impedance mismatch. If the signal is traveling down through this and there's any change in impedance, and impedance is the equivalent of resistance for AC or for radio frequencies. So if there's any change in impedance, it acts the same as hitting a wall. So imagine you're shouting down a cavern and signal hits a wall. It's going to reflect, you're going to get echo, and that's going to bounce back, and it's going to bleed, and so basically it's going to make it so that a lot of the signal doesn't make it all the way through to the end. So basically, by doing this botch job splice, the RF, the radio frequencies from the amplifier in here, can't make it to my antenna. So when I got about 50 to 100 feet away from the car, I just lost all signal. It couldn't communicate. So the big honking antenna I had stuck out here wasn't doing anything. So how do I fix this? Okay, so what I need to do is actually replace this entire line with one continuous piece, which is inside the container here, that is going to be long enough to go from the antenna mount down through here and give me a little place so I can route this properly and not have to mess around with that. So you see here, I had plenty of wire to do that the first time, but I guess at 3 o'clock in the morning when I was trying to wire this thing up, my brain wasn't working properly. So this time I'm going to do it the right way. Alright guys, so I'm going to drop off for a moment and I'll come back once I have this desoldered and show you what the process is. Okay everybody, so I was able to successfully go in and pull out the wire that I butchered and put in this new wire. As you can see, it's nice. It's got, if I can get focus in on here, there we go. It's got a nice connection to the RF module. So just to kind of give you guys a heads up, so basically these are called coaxial wires. So you can kind of see it on here. You have a wire, like a little thin wire in the middle, and then a shield wire that goes around the outside. So that actually protects, it makes what's called a waveguide, where RF or radio frequency energy basically bounces down inside the shielding, and it makes it very low loss, very high efficiency way of transmitting radio frequency energy. So when I did this hack job splice here, as I mentioned before, screwed up the impedance, so basically made an echo chamber in here that sent the signal bouncing back down and essentially just screwed everything up. So this nice continuous length right here, make sure that you have nice clean RF going all the way through, no interference gets in and there's no random echoes. And then the way you solder this stuff is you have to take it, expose the center like you see right here, expose the center conductor, and then you take the insulator on the outside. You see there's a little bit of it just kind of right here, and you pull it in two sides on the side right here, and you solder that together. And you see you solder that together right there, and that makes it makes a good electrical contact. So I got that taken care of, and I actually cheated a little bit. I actually took this guy outside already and put it together, took it out with scratch, and just did a little range test, and it seems to be working just fine. So again, I feel really stupid for doing this in the first place, but you live and you learn, and that's part of the mantra, fly, fix, fly. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull this guy back together, and then I'll show you how the attachment works. Okay guys, so just keep in mind when you're reassembling your radio, if you decide to take this thing on, that you be careful. You know, every radio is a little bit differently. Every radio is put together a little bit differently, but sometimes you get wires that can get caught in between things and pinch. Sometimes you have, like in this case, you have wires that need to go around mechanical assemblies. So if you aren't careful with doing that, you can actually wrap the wires around things that have to move and then make the radio not work properly. So just make sure everything is clearance. So before I button up, I'll just show you. So here, this connection, this connection has this, essentially this 8mm socket in on one side. So I used a very small washer and a bolt, well, a very small washer on top of here, and then another washer on the outside to hold everything together. And then I use, and it's really not wanting to focus on that. Okay. And then on top of that, I put another, just another bolt, whatever the heck this thing is. Well, I put another one of these guys right here to hold this down, so that so that it won't be easily back itself out. So let me just go ahead and now just finish buttoning this guy up. Okay guys, so I got everything back together, and as you can see, it doesn't look any different, but that's the point. So everything's together, but now I have this adapter right here on the top of it. So just to show you how this thing works, this now will take any standard 2.4 gigahertz antenna for Wi-Fi applications or anything like that. So I can screw this bad boy on and go on with my day. So this is a 2 dB antenna, so it's basically the equivalent of the standard one that comes on it. But I also picked up a Monster 6 dB, or they have a wide variety of other sizes in the middle of that. So the big thing is, you have to have a radio that has an accessible antenna location or antenna mounting location. So a lot of these guys are going to have a separate little RF or radio frequency daughter board inside of it, like mine did. If you can get to that connection and unsolder it and solder it back properly, and I have to point out, you're talking about really small solder connections inside of these things usually. So you have to have pretty decent solder skills. It took me almost an hour to get this done properly. I think that was largely just because my soldering iron was acting a little bit flaky on me. But still, you need to be pretty proficient with precision soldering, or else you're going to butcher it and it's not going to work right. So just think about that before you decide to take on this project. But if you feel confident in your soldering skills and you don't mind opening up an expensive radio, this isn't that tough a thing to do. And like I said, the big thing is just making sure that you have a solid ability to mount your connection, and that you have the right size washers and nuts and everything you need to make this thing come together properly. But I did a little range test with it, and it seems to work just fine, so I'm pretty happy. So we'll see what happens when I actually take it out to the field. All right guys, Our House 21 signing out. Remember the mantra: fly, fix, fly, break it, fix it, do it all over again. Don't forget to just try and try and try again. Sometimes when you do stuff, it doesn't work out the first time. Sometimes you have to do something like this before you realize that, yeah, maybe I need to reevaluate stuff. But it's okay. I got it figured out. It works. And I'm sharing this with you so you guys don't make the same mistake. Friends don't let friends make screwed up solder connections like that. All right, guys. Our House 21 signing out. Peace. Oh, and don't forget, remember to check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and all the other social media aspects out there. Got a lot of new content coming up here. Now that I'm getting back into the flow. So, again, our House 21 signing out. Remember our mantra, fly, fix, fly. Break it, fix it, do it all over again. Peace.